What's going on, everyone? So I want to talk about a name that I don't think has gotten nearly enough attention in the broader Lakers rumor conversation, but that I actually think when you dig into the specific financial mechanics behind it makes a ton of sense as a realistic target. Obi Toppin of the Indiana Pacers. And the reasoning here isn't really about Toppin himself generating buzz. It's about the very specific financial pressure Indiana is reportedly operating under that could force their hand regardless of how much they actually want to keep him. So here's the deal. According to reporting cited by Bleacher Report's Eric Pincus, the Indiana Pacers are notoriously averse to paying the luxury tax, and multiple competing executives around the league reportedly believe Indiana is going to need to make a move to shed salary at some point this year, and when that specific reporting names names, the two guys mentioned are Obi Toppin and Jarace Walker. Now, I actually want to focus specifically on Toppin here rather than Walker, because I think the fit profile is genuinely more compelling for what the Lakers actually need, and I'll get into exactly why here in a second. Let's talk about who Obi Toppin actually is as a player first, for anybody who hasn't followed his specific NBA journey closely. He came into the league with real, significant athletic hype out of Dayton, was a former lottery pick with the Knicks, didn't really find consistent minutes or a clear role in New York, and then got a fresh opportunity in Indiana that's allowed him to actually show real, tangible development. A legitimate stretch four who can run the floor in transition, finish above the rim, and has developed a genuinely reliable three-point shot over the last couple seasons. This is not a reclamation project. This is a proven productive rotation piece on a team that's had real recent postseason success. So why would Indiana even consider moving him? And this is where the tax situation actually matters a lot. When a team is bumping up against luxury tax thresholds and ownership has made clear they don't want to pay significant tax penalties, front offices are forced to make hard, sometimes counterintuitive decisions about which productive players they keep and which they move, purely based on salary math rather than pure basketball value. Toppin's specific salary number, relative to his role and production, might simply be more than Indiana's ownership wants to carry given everything else on their books, especially with other, younger pieces on the roster that the organization might view as higher priorities for long-term financial commitment. Now, here's why I think this fit makes genuine sense for the Lakers specifically, more so honestly than some of the other names being floated. Toppin's specific skill set, athletic finisher, genuine floor spacing three-point shooter, high motor transition player, is close to a perfect complement to how Luka Doncic actually wants to play. Think about it. Luka is an elite transition player himself when he pushes the pace, and having a genuinely explosive rim-running four who can finish lobs and clean up misses in transition gives Luka an easy, high-value outlet in exactly the situations where the Lakers want to be pushing pace and playing downhill. And in the half court, Toppin's developed three-point shooting means he's not a purely stationary big who clogs driving lanes. He can actually space the floor from the power forward spot, giving Luka the same kind of driving room a more traditional stretch four would provide. Let's talk about the defensive side too, because I think this is actually a real strength in Toppin's profile relative to some of the other options being discussed. He's not an elite, switch-everything defender, but he's shown real legitimate improvement as a team defender in Indiana's system, particularly in terms of positioning, rebounding, and rim protection as a helper rather than a primary stopper. That's genuinely valuable next to a backcourt of Luka and Austin Reeves, neither of whom profiles as an elite individual defender. You need your front court pieces to be able to cover for that, and Toppin, while not a lockdown stopper himself, has shown he can be a real functional team defender who doesn't actively hurt you on that end. Now, let's talk about what this would actually cost, because I think this is where the realistic path forward gets interesting. If Indiana is genuinely motivated by tax savings rather than maximizing draft pick return, that potentially changes the entire calculus of what it takes to actually get this done. A team looking primarily to shed salary for financial reasons is often more willing to take back a somewhat lesser package, even including expiring or minimally guaranteed money, as long as it actually reduces their tax bill compared to a team that's purely trying to maximize asset value in a trade. That's actually a real opportunity for a team like the Lakers, who, per the earlier reporting we've talked about, are already dealing with a genuine roster crunch and looking for ways to convert bench depth into more impactful pieces. I could genuinely see a scenario where the Lakers put together a package built around one or two of their more replaceable roster pieces. Again, thinking about names like Dalton Knecht, who's already been specifically flagged as being on the roster bubble, combined with maybe a lower protected future second round pick that gets this done without requiring the Lakers to give up any of their more significant valuable draft capital. That's exactly the kind of value-based trade that smart front offices specifically hunt for, where a counterpart's specific financial motivation, rather than pure basketball value, creates a real market inefficiency to exploit. Let's talk about what this would actually mean for the roster construction more broadly, because I think it's worth comparing this specifically to some of the other forward options we've discussed. Compared to Kyle Kuzma, I think Toppin is a cleaner, more efficient fit specifically because his game requires fewer touches and less offensive usage to be effective. He thrives on shots created by others, whether that's Luka's gravity in the half court or transition opportunities off misses and turnovers, rather than needing the ball in his hands to create his own offense. Given that the Lakers already have their primary shot creation covered by Luka and Reeves, I actually think a lower usage, higher efficiency piece like Toppin fits the specific offensive hierarchy this roster needs better than a more shot-hungry player would. I do want to flag one real risk here though, and it's worth being honest about it. Toppin's specific production in Indiana has come within a very particular system, a fast-paced, up-tempo offense that Indiana has built its entire identity around in recent years. There's always some risk when you take a player out of a system that's been specifically tailored to maximize his strengths and drop him into a different context, even one that, on paper, seems complementary. The Lakers do play with pace, particularly given Luka's own transition instincts, but it's not identical to Indiana's specific system, and there's a legitimate question of how seamlessly that translates. But overall, when I actually weigh everything here, the tax-motivated urgency on Indiana's side potentially creating real trade value, the genuine stylistic fit next to Luka both in transition and half-court spacing, the defensive competence that covers for a backcourt that needs it, and the realistic value-based trade package that wouldn't require the Lakers to give up significant draft capital, I actually think this might be one of the more underrated, realistic paths to solving that. Forward spot that's been genuinely unsettled all off-season. My prediction here is that this specific rumor probably doesn't heat up until we get closer to the actual start of the regular season, once Indiana's actual tax situation and roster decisions become more concrete and urgent. I don't think this is a move that happens in the next week or two, but I do think if Indiana's financial situation plays out the way multiple executives are reportedly predicting, this becomes a real, live conversation sometime between now and the trade deadline, and possibly even before the season starts if Indiana wants to resolve their tax exposure before it actually kicks in for the full season. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question to you. Do you think Obi Toppin is a name Lakers fans should actually be tracking closely, or do you think this stays purely speculative? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button, helps me a lot, so you enjoy these types of videos, truly appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate you, I'll see you in the next one, thank you.